everyone, my name is Olashimi Balogun. I'm a member of Group 10 and I'll be discussing the topic ethics, privacy and security. There are 5 subtopics under this topic and I'll be taking the first one, taking the definition of ethics, the ethical frameworks and the relationship between ethics and law. What is ethics? Ethics refers to a system of moral principle in which human beings use to judge right and wrong and develop rules and conduct. We have various types of ethical frameworks, but 2 are widely adopted. One is natural law and rights. Second is utilitarianism. Natural law and rights are actions that are judged to be ethical or unethical according to how well they adhere to the broadly accepted rules derived from the law, e.g., right to privacy, right to free pass, thou shalt not kill. Second one is utilitarianism. Actions are ethical or unethical based on their consequences and outcomes. When you try to judge what action would bring out the greatest good for the greatest number, then you're using the utilitarianism scheme. Examples of utilitarianism scheme is the greatest good for the greatest number, the needs of few, the needs of many outweigh. Now I'll be discussing the relationship between ethics and law. Laws are often grounded in ethical principles such as the prohibition against murder and thefts and the protection against private property and free speech. Laws don't cover all ethical principles. Just because an action is legal does not mean it is ethical. For example, lying might be legal in some cases, but it is grossly unethical. Thank you very much.
My name is Temitope Suleiman, and I'll be talking about how intellectual property and plagiarism pose as a challenge to information ethics and the technologies that have been provided to solve this challenge. What is intellectual property? Intellectual property are intangible assets such as written works, movies, designs, creative ideas, innovation, discoveries, and other expressions of the human mind. Information ethics focuses on the transmission and storage of digitized data. This has raised a lot of ethical and legal issues because digitized data can now be accessed without control, and this will discourage creators from putting out more digital content. In some countries, there are means of copyright laws, patent laws, and legal statutes to protect intellectual property and give owners of intellectual property the right to its commercial value. Enforcing intellectual property laws has been very challenging due to the fact that people tend to break these laws. The Business Software Alliance reports a lot of financial losses due to software piracy. In a survey that was done worldwide with over 15,000 computer users, 57% of these computer users admitted to the theft of software. In some countries with weak enforcement, very little software used by consumers and business owners were purchased legally. Most people conform to the laws because they agree to the principle, or maybe they are scared of the punishment that comes breaking intellectual property law. Or many also think that breaking IP laws are not very serious offenses or are not very serious ethical violation because these properties are digitized. To make matters worse, not everyone agrees that protecting of intellectual property is a good ethical decision. The Free Software Foundation advocates for less restrictive copyright laws on intellectual property. They believe consumers should be given access to copy, distribute, and improve software. If you are being honest, intellectual property is the bedrock of organizations' intellectual capital and competitive advantage. Their patents, discoveries, and copyright works are what give them this competitive advantage. Many organizations have decided to use technologies to control the access to their intellectual properties. One is the digital rights management. The digital rights management are what companies use to restrict and control access to their digital content. Plagiarism is also a type of intellectual property theft. This refers to the rewriting or reproducing of someone else's words as your own without giving proper credit to where you got it from. This has tarnished a lot of authors' image, but now technologies have been made available to keep track of this ethical violation. Example is Turnitin.com from Paradigm Shift. It offers originality checking service to documents submitted to it by showing the source of the passages and providing the match to where these documents were gotten. It also offers automated translation technology to spot passages in foreign languages that appear to be translated to English without crediting the source.
My name is Favour Eniola, and I'm going to be taking the third subtopic of this discussion, which is information privacy, the strategies to protect it, and I'm going to explain why organizations may implement surveillance. First of all, what is information privacy? Information privacy refers to the protection of data that concerns individuals. Now I'm going to be explaining some elements of privacy. The first one is right to anonymity. Now anonymity implies confidentiality. The second element of privacy is protection from unwarranted searches or seizures. Now the third element of privacy is right to view and correct personal information, and the fourth one is right to control use of personal information by third parties, and the final one is right to be left alone. We also have protection against intrusion. Strategies to protect information privacy. We have two strategies. The first one is trading privacy for convenience and freebies. To earn trust, organizations should clearly state in their privacy policies what they are collecting and the reason they are collecting it. And they do this in order to take great care to protect the data they've collected and to also adhere to their own policy. The second one is anonymity, and anonymity implies confidentiality. Now we use proxy for protecting information privacy. Now proxy is an intermediary server that receives and analyzes requests from clients and then directs them to their destinations, which help in protecting their privacy. Now I'm going to be explaining why organizations implement surveillance. The first one is because it concerns about employer liability for allowing harassment or hostile work environment. The second one is the need to protect security and confidentiality. The third one is concerns about employee productivity and cyber slacking, while the final one is concerns about bogging down corporate servers with personal files.
My name is Bango Yalima Busayo. I'm here to discuss on the categories of information security and explain the steps organizations use to manage them. The first category of information security is security risk itself, and the steps organizations use to manage security risks include 1. Develop security standards and best practices. 2. Transparent auditing mechanism. 3. Organizations should have robust security awareness program. Second category is threats, and the steps involved in identifying threats or the questions the organization asks include: number 1, what info needs protection? 2, what are the major threats from inside or outside the organization? 3, what are the organization weaknesses, strengths, and vulnerabilities? 4, what would be the impact of any particular risk? 5, how likely are each of the risks? 6, what controls can be used to mitigate risks? The third category is vulnerabilities, and the steps involved in analyzing or assessing vulnerabilities include: 1, vulnerabilities can be assessed or analyzed using the risk matrix. 2, after step 1, the organization can protect against specific risks by incorporating industry standards. The fourth category is administrative controls, and the steps involved in developing administrative controls include: 1, do a proper background check on employees, especially highly skilled IT specialists who could still access the organization database after leaving the service of an organization. 2, have clear incident response plan. 3, organizations should monitor access to its systems. The fifth category of information security is technical controls, and the steps involved in developing technical controls include: 1, have a solid technical security control. 1, authentication strategies like the multi-factor authentication. B, encryption. The powerful type is the public key encryption. C, intrusion prevention and detection system. D, firewalls help in blocking spams.
I'm Omogoye Kende, and I'll be explaining why human behavior often is the weakest link for privacy, ethics, and security, and also strategies used towards counteract this weakness. Human behavior is often the weakest link because they are prone to making errors, they are negligent on some things, and also what do? Their lack of awareness. For example, simply clicking on the wrong link. So it is common for employees to increase their digital footprint without being aware of the risk involved. Cyber criminals often exploit our human vulnerabilities and psychological elements to steal what? Credentials and gain unauthorized access. Since phishing and social engineering attacks are primarily targeted at people, the human factor continues to be an important element in the CIS always need to consider in order to protect their organization from cyber attacks. We hear this repeatedly. Humans are the weakest link in cybersecurity. Why is it? Contrast to technology and technical processes. However, people are inconsistent and unpredictable. The human factor is the human factor problem is complex because by the nature it involves a serious psychological, physiological and philosophical discussion. We are all humans. We make mistakes. Unfortunately, there will always be people trying to take advantage of our mistakes for their own benefit, which can cost our business tremendous financial loss. No matter how sophisticated our cyber defenses are, how advanced our technologies are, how good our security practices are, we will always be constrained by what the human factor. Now I'll be talking about what strategies what counteract this weakness. In order to avoid such pitfalls, organizational teams should regularly follow trainings about topics such as one, applicable laws and regulation, main current risks and threats, authentication and access control, system admin, network segregation, and also what logging and monitoring. Two, raising end users' awareness about information system securities. They need to let the end users of this information security to know what they should know things that are important for them about the information system chain. Three, they need to also what make training really effective. That is, they need to be regular trainings for them to know things about what cybersecurity and ethics. Four, we are fostering a cybersecurity culture. There has to be a culture whereby people have to know things about cybersecurity, and also last but not the least, modernizing and automating IT processes. We know what IT is. IT is what information technology. So they have to know things about information technology processes. And so that is all about what ethics, privacy, and security. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.